Hello, YouTube! Woo! Normally, I do live videos on Facebook and almost every day, every other day, but I'm trying it out here on YouTube. So I just was asked a question, literally was just asked a question, I don't even know how long ago, not very long ago, like within an hour. And it is like 3 a.m. where I am, and it's middle of the night. But this question was asked, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and answer the question right away. I have pets in my house, so if you see me look away, it's because they're running around doing shit. So sorry about that. You guys aren't used to this, and neither am I. So my question was, why do some people attract negative energy? Let's talk about it, okay? Because if there are two different categories that we're going to kind of talk about real quick. Um, are you attracting negative energy, which is like bad things are happening, things aren't working out? If that's the case, most likely you're in a situation of like attracts like. I seriously hope you can hear me because sometimes I have problems with my audio. Working on that. So if you're in a situation where it's just like things are just not working out and or bad things just keep happening, you have to look into what you're doing. You know, what you're putting out there. Are you waking up in the morning saying, "Oh shit, I don't want to get out of bed. This is going to be an awful day." Or are you getting out of bed saying, today is going to be what I make of it, and you go out there and you kick ass to the best of your ability? That is situation number one. Okay, and I think that there are plenty of cases where that's really all it is. There are plenty of people who just don't self motivate. And that's a huge deal. And I'm so glad you asked me this question because it's like this is great. You know, let's talk about it. Self-motivation is 99% of what's going on, because we're going to talk a lot on my channel about people who are toxic, emotional vampires, that kind of thing. And we're going to talk about how to get them out of our lives because they cause a lot of problems, which is number two, and we're about to get to that. But once you have that nipped in the ass and you have your shit together, then you have to self motivate and you have to be prepared for that. And that's something I don't think enough people are talking about. So, you know what? I'm going to write that down. Wait, I almost did this wrong. See, you guys aren't used to this. We have this thing called the book, and we put our thoughts in there. And it is an amazing thing that I'm also going to make a series of videos about because it really helps for anybody who has a lot going on up here. And if you're a human being, most likely you've got a lot going on. Unless you're one of the bad guys who just doesn't care about anything or anybody other than themselves, you probably have a lot going on. So thank you so much for this idea, and self-motivation is going in my book because that's how we do things. We write things down, we keep it all together in one place, and it's like having an external brain. Computers aren't the same. There's something different about the memory system and the connection between pen and paper, and that's something else that we're going to talk about. So don't shut me out on this idea just yet. I might have some sort of idea. Okay, so let's get on to number two. And I apologize that I'm wordy, but if you've watched any of my videos by now, you know that's who I am, and I'm authentic. So let's get on to number two, which is if toxic people are causing the negative energy that you're referring to. So in the first case, we had where you're just being a negative person and you're not really embracing just this is what needs to be done and I'm going to make the most of it and I'm going to make it I'm going to do it with all my passion and enjoy what I'm doing. And if you're doing that, you're doing it to yourself. And then there is the situation where the negative energy is being brought in by toxic people or those energy vampires that we talked about. That is a totally different situation where you're not just going to have bad things happen. You're going to have bad things happening because you're going to be involved in things that you have no place being involved in. People are going to get you involved in these situations that are totally fucked up. You're going to have where you're potentially running somebody's errands all the time or taking care of their kids or taking care of their work responsibilities. Those people also bring negative energy, and that's something that is associated with you and your lack of boundaries. So if you're allowing negative energy in the form of people, hey, welcome to the show. If you're allowing negative energy in the form of people, it could very well be because you are lacking boundaries. And so these people are finding you, and they're finding you very appealing because you're letting them get away with their bullshit. And that is going to bring a lot of very negative energy. It's going to make you, again, you're going to be behaving in ways that you didn't mean to be behaving. And oftentimes, if you're a highly sensitive person or an empath, you will leave these situations from these people feeling physically ill because you are taking on their feelings. And so that's another type of negative energy. Not sure where that question was going, if it was more so, that it just seems that bad things are happening. And there again, I think that a lot of that is self-motivation. And then there is having the wrong people around us, or not living your passions, all the things that we're talking about, where you have to be your authentic self. You have to know who you are. You have to, that's part of what I also am going with my book is going through a process of identifying who you are, really saying, this is what makes me your name here. And from there, saying these are things that I'm passionate about, and then doing those things, doing them every day, making sure that you're doing them almost all day, because if you really want to be happy, you want to try to find a career or job or some sort of way to make income so you can take care of yourself. That is something that you're also passionate about. I mean, who doesn't want that? That's what we all want, right? And so as long as you first identify it, you then start doing it, and happiness just follows. And it's that simple. But in there, it requires a few little side steps where you have to make sure that along the way you are self-motivated and you are pushing yourself along, and you keep reminding yourself that whatever direction you're heading off into, you have to get yourself out of bed and get on that path. And I think, there are plenty of people who get out of bed, but then they sit on the bed and they hesitate to put their pants on. You're highly motivated? That is fantastic. I am not. I I really tend to get into a slump, and that's something also that, we'll talk about more along the way, because it's very easy, especially people who are highly sensitive, who do attract more toxic or negative people into their lives. It's very common for us to have other side effects as a result of their abuse over time, the trauma of their abuse. And so, along with that, a lot of times we get these, depressive moods and things like that. And it can be very hard just to start your day. But that's something that, the negative energy, you're highly motivated. Okay, great. Great. So you're keeping yourself busy. What type of negative energy is acting then? That's the question. If I have somebody here who's engaged who wants to go there, let's talk about it. I went quiet for a minute because it's if somebody's actually, you're the individual who has a question, if you want to get more in depth with it, you certainly can. If not, totally understood. So, but otherwise, we can take this off of here for now. I mean, it's really at this point, it's up for you to decide which one is it. The people you attract are absorbing your kindness. So you're putting out goodness and light, which is fantastic. That's hopefully what, people are striving to do. But is it that you're just giving and you're not receiving? Because that could be a problem too. I mean, you in a situation like that, you really have to stop and look at the people who are surrounding you. And I actually have recently recommended to somebody who I had a one-on-one consult with that they make a list within their book, because we really use this book thing. And, that within their book, make a list of the people who are really negative and the people who are really positive. And, at some point in time, you have to make the decision that if somebody's negative, either you're going to end that relationship, and that means end the relationship, or if you're going to accept it the way that it is in its current state, because we can't fix people, it's impossible. And trying to change people is unfair, and it's unfair to them and ourselves. We've talked about this in one of my other videos. So it's really a matter of, with the people who are around you, you either have to choose to accept them exactly how they are, or you have to choose to let them go. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there's some really bad lighting in here. Because I'm super new to this, I have not yet invested in anything at all, and I'm still super duper shy about doing this. You wouldn't know, but I am. And so, in time, I want to get a little bit fixed up. And I was sitting at my kitchen table when I opened my phone, and for whatever reason, there was a question. I'm like, oh, it's time. I'm gonna answer this right now. Letting them go. And actually, that was something that I was working on. Hold on a second, because you actually had made a comment. This is something else you see in my lives all the time. I always have tissues or paper products. Okay. You like my so-called artwork, and I was actually working on, I was sitting at my kitchen table cramming. Oh, hugs to you. This is what's coming up right here. We're going to be talking about no contact, which I've talked about before. I'm not sure how much I've talked about on here versus Facebook, because I like to go live on Facebook, and I have more of a following there. So I'm working on that for going no contact with people who are no good for us. And then there is also when no contact is not an option. But that's very specific, that one. It's just, seriously, it's one of the hardest things you're ever going to have to do. But I'm sorry, I feel more comfortable now that I kind of have it narrowed down more so what your question was regarding. When it comes to people bringing in negative energy and taking, especially when they're taking away our positive energy, you know, if it's not a reciprocal relationship, it's not benefiting you. And if it's not benefiting you, it's okay to let it go. And I think that's what a lot of us more empathic people need a reminder of as well, that it's okay to let it go. You don't, it's number one, it's so not your job to try to fix anybody. But then in addition to that, it's not healthy. Right. No contact is, I am personally not like, I want to use the terminology of it's like trying to kick a drug habit, going no contact. I have never tried to kick a drug habit, and I do not want to try to minimize how difficult that probably is. I can only imagine. Positive energy, love, and light to anybody who has to go through that type of struggle. I have been fortunate that I've never had to go through a struggle like that. But no contact is like giving up an addiction. That's a better way to say it. Um, it makes me nervous to even talk about. You can tell by my body language. It's affecting me to even talk about. It is difficult. And especially for people who are empathic or when you have a real connection with somebody. And a lot of times, just in case you're not aware of this, if a person is manipulating, they will create soul ties with us that actually make it even more difficult for us to go no contact. So, when it comes to understanding how difficult it is, I truly do. And I talk about it, and I'm going to talk about it at length because it is like the hardest thing that you have to do, especially if you love that person. And you don't usually just give up on, the emotion of love doesn't usually just go away, so it takes time. And if you're somebody who's reminiscent or who really enjoyed certain aspects of a person, or if you're a codependent in particular, you're, which is a whole nother topic we're going to be talking about. You might have a more difficult time letting go of somebody who had some sort of good feeling for you. But ultimately, it's very important that you do, which is actually very good in the sense that it's said that, if you have intimate relationships with people, it is usually a lot harder to break those soul ties from these additional connections that take place. But even as far as friends go, oftentimes when we trust friends, we tell them our secrets and we share memories with them and, experiences, and we want to continue that. And but if you're leaving a situation where you're with a friend and you realize that you don't feel good when you leave their company, it's just not good for you. It's just not good for you. I personally have had to go no contact with people who were, friends of mine who I love them from a distance. That's how I put it. Oh, well, thank you. I don't feel that way. I have extremely chapped lips, so I have all sort all sorts of chapstick on, and so I'm trying to keep my mouth clean. But anywho, it is getting extremely late here, but what it comes down to is anyone who's in your circle, anyone who's in your tribe, anybody who's in your team, whatever you want to call the group of people that surround you, they should be people who build you up, lift you up, inspire you, and make you want to soar, make you feel like you can soar. If your people are not doing that for you, they're not serving you, and it's time to go find other people to spend more time with. And one of the reasons that I'm actually here is because I want to find more people that are like me to join my tribe. And I want the people who are more like me to come work with me and grow with me. And we can hang out and we can learn from each other and we can inspire each other. This is like a negativity free zone. My group here is negativity free, and because my channel is literally in its infancy, I haven't really gotten to do a lot of about me and things like that, but like we just have an absolute like hatred free zone here, and that's how it's going to be. And so anybody who comes into this area has to be open-minded, has to be, ready to spread some love and light. But also, if you're injured, it's a safe place to be healed from that. And we're going to heal together, because everybody has some sort of pain that you're coming in with, you know. And thank you. I'm glad that you found my channel. I don't know how you found my channel. I'm hoping that I bring as many smiles as possible. I'm hoping that this shit of positivity that I'm trying to spread goes viral. So, because it's time for people to seriously, like, the keys to happiness and the keys to a really great life are super duper simple, you know? You're not a religious guru. I'm not a guru of any sort. I wish I wish I could be. Which, is one of the about me things. I myself am not religious in any way, but just like with anything else that I talk about, I don't care about differing opinions. I mean, I do in the sense of like, oh, that's interesting. But like beyond that, I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm not going to try to direct anybody in any way. When I say something about, like, if I say meditation, that means meditation, prayer, whatever the fuck it is you do that, and I swear like a truck driver, I apologize. You know, whatever it is you do that inspires you and makes your heart sing, that's what I want you to do. That's what I want everyone here to do. I want everyone to have just like joy, you know? And the only way that we're going to get that is by not worrying about like hating each other for having differing opinions, you know? I don't I don't care, you know? So I'm glad you feel that way. And that's something else. I really want like that feeling to like go viral. Like, yeah, I have my opinions in every aspect. I have an opinion on politics. I have an opinion on everything. But like, it's not going to affect my ability to connect and love another soul because I'm not going to let it. You know what I mean? All this hatred, all this vile bigotry that's going on today. It's like, no, no, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. So we welcome all types as long as we keep our shit. That's your thing, you know? Um, and we respect each other, and everyone that comes in here can just love one another. It's gonna be great. I don't know how that's gonna go down. We'll see. This is the internet. But anyway, oh my gosh, it is super late here. So I think I better sign out here, but I hope I kind of answered a question a little bit cohesively. Obviously, you can see him drinking Mountain Dew. And it is 20 after 3 in the AM. I am in Wisconsin. I am in Wisconsin, where we just had ridiculously cold weather. Today was like 40 degrees, and I was out on my deck, and I was like reveling in it. It was just like, oh, the air doesn't hurt. It was amazing. So, I live in a small community in Wisconsin, and I'm a weirdo here. I'm fine with that. I'm embracing it. Missouri, is it warm there? I've been to Missouri. I went there on a road trip once, and it was like, I'm going to Missouri. And I did like Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. Oh, it was a good time. Don't say what? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. Be sure to stay tuned, and hopefully, we can all have some fun learning some stuff together. I know some of my techniques are a little bit goofy, but one of the things that I am super duper pressing the issue on is that I insist on being my authentic self. So, yes, I am married. So, at any rate, I think it is definitely time for this girl to hit the hay. But I'll be back, and if you have any further questions, when I call myself weird, it's in a really good way. It's in a like, ooh, I'm okay sort of way. So anyway, um, yeah, my chapstick is taking over. So it's time for me to go to sleep. Usually it's if my lipstick ends up on my teeth, it's time for me to go to sleep. That's on my Facebook Live videos. So, thank you so much for your question. If you have any other questions, obviously I will give you some sort of response to the best of my ability. I'm going to try to get back to everybody. I urge anybody who's seen this to forgive the fact that I'm very candid right now. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Um, Ask me a question, you might just get an answer, and I might even just pop on here live because why not? All right, so take care for tonight, and we will talk with you guys soon. Until then, love and light.